So I said in a previous video that we would talk more about the word value and its meaning. So there's a couple of different ways you could look at the word value. So let's talk about how the individual would value something. Of course, all of our value systems are differently. Now, I'm talking in terms of things that we want to own, not, your moral value system. That's a separate discussion. But things that are important to you, like I play guitar, so owning a guitar is important to me. I value a guitar. A person who can't play a guitar would maybe value a guitar as an ornament on the wall, or something along that line, or just to have the pride of ownership, to say I have a guitar, I have friends that play guitar, when they come over they can play my guitar, so I value having that around. Now that's all true and all good and all well, but value as a general rule in finance needs to be viewed a different way. So some of those factors, the personal factors, would still be factors inside of aggregate finance when it comes to the individual. But more so what happens is we would look at the values of individuals as a group. So we would take a group of people and their buying habits, or their banking habits, or their credit card purchases, and we'd be able to see from what they purchased individually, which is an individual thing that we just talked about, and see what they buy on average and come up with some sort of an aggregate index of what people, for example, are willing to pay for something. What is someone willing to pay for, a single family home, a small car, a Honda Civic, for example, a specific car? How do people value that in terms of purchasing, and what numerical value do we put on that? That's another distinction I always like to make, is that typically when I ask people about the value of something, they give me a dollar amount. Well, that is one way to measure value in dollars, but as I've said previously, dollars are sort of ethereal and not a fixed standard, and it's a very challenging way to measure things over time. It's great in the instant, currently, right? Talked about that before. It's great in the moment, and it's a useful tool for benchmarking in the moment, but over time it becomes very confusing because the dollars are illusory. They don't buy as much. They lose purchasing power. So you may see a set amount of dollars present in an account, but over time that's going to lose purchasing power. We'll talk about that in greater detail again. So getting back to value. So value over time and value in the context of finance really comes down to, the word means equal to. Now you can take an etymological dictionary, which is a dictionary that tracks the usage and meaning of words over time. And if you go back a number of years, 700-800 years, you'll find out that in the context of finance, value meant equal to. So again, all values are relative. I've said that before. It's equal to whatever you think is fair in that transaction. So try to keep that. I'm going to keep repeating that value statement over and over again, because as you'll see going forward, you'll see why I harp on and hammer on this particular word and this subject matter so much, because it's so integral and so important to what we're about to experience in this heavily inflationary environment that we're about to launch into here in the world. Okay, so that's all I have to say on value for right now. We'll talk about it at length more and more, probably just about every time I get on screen here, so be prepared. Thanks for listening.